What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. Wrapping up our series here on the big three. We're going deadlift here. Another impressive lift for you, deadlift.
It's impressive.
More impressive than mine.
Yeah, it's impressive for I guess having one leg, I guess you could say.
The one-legged monster here. One thing in combat, guys, again, I think the biggest thing that always motivates me about Casey is like, no excuses. You know, no excuses. I mean, he was dealt a tough hand, but it's like, that's what actually allowed you to get into this in the first place, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like built me to be who that I am is today, and you know, it's transferred over from me really pushing myself to now it's pushing people, you know, and given that whole, you know, no excuses mentality. And you know, for me, with all the, you know, the damage that I took from that IED blast in Afghanistan, doing these workouts and doing this stuff, it's truly painful for me. But when I'm done and I'm walking out of here, I feel like I made so much ground with myself and with people. Yeah. You know, there is no excuses for why you can't, you know, get to the gym, put in that dedication, put in that work, and live a better life.
I mean, it's again, you inspire me. That's why you're here in this gym, and now we got to try to inspire some other people too. So the key thing is this: on the deadlift, there are some key moves I think that would allow people to increase their deadlift. The deadlift is one of those moves I believe that people have a high capacity to lift more on.
Absolutely.
Right? And I don't care what your body weight is. I think people can lift a lot more than they do, but they really have to get some of those key things down. For you, the very first key accessory lift that you like is the pendlay row.
Yeah, I like the pendlay row. You know, the pendlay row, you guys will see here in a minute when I demonstrate it. What the key for me is I'm trying to build explosion. With the deadlift, you got to have a lot of explosion. So with the pendlay row, it allows me to do that. Bent over, bars at a dead stop, and I'm able to pull the weight up to basically my chest area. And it just, like I said, it builds a lot of strength and force out of the hole when you go to get ready to pull. So you basically, when you do the pendlay row, you set up just like you were going to do a deadlift. Obviously, if you are a sumo deadlifter, you would not set up in a sumo position because it would just not make sense. So the way, same thing, if you are a reverse grip deadlifter, you will not be able to do that here either. So go ahead and just do double over grip. And so from a dead stop here, I always have a slight bend in my knees, and then come to a complete stop.
Again, not ever sort of going down, bend the elbows to kind of wind up. Right. You're getting stiff, locking out, and pulling from there.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, this is something that's key. It's one of those workouts where it's kind of strenuous, where you don't get lazy with it, you know? A lot of people are going to do it, it's taxing. It is taxing, but it has big benefits for your deadlift. And so make sure you're adding these in. It's with all three big lifts that we've been talking about, the number one thing is your back. You use your back in all three lifts. So with the pendlay row, we're doing a row. So we're working on the explosive muscles, and we're getting an actual workout in on our back as well.
And a key component of what you did there too, so when you're going for power, guys sometimes think, oh, I'm going to train for power, 10, 12, 15, right? That's not power. Right. Power is going to be, as you said, high quality. Quality trumps everything when it comes to power, because if you start to lose your velocity, the power's gone. Yes. Velocity is, by definition, part of being more powerful. So you have to be able to get good velocity and make sure every rep is quality. But when you load this thing though, you can still try to load up as heavy as you can, as long as you're not losing that velocity.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can. If you're, you know, I know guys that are, you know, 700, 800 pound deadlifters, they're going to come load this bar with over 400 pounds to do pendlay rows. And that's the thing with this, is as it gets easier.
He's talking about Jesse, by the way.
Yeah, Jesse was in here deadlifting over 800 earlier today. Video coming soon. But continue to add weight. Yes, there can be times where you do like I said, 225, and as you can see, that moves pretty well for me. I could have done probably 10, 15 reps. And that's okay too. You know, get a good pump, get that form down, get that velocity going. But don't be afraid to add weight. But when you're adding the weight, don't go to a point to where the quality is gone. Okay, you need full extension, full to the chest. You should be hitting the chest. If you're doing little half ones, you're not getting the benefit out of it. So just remember that, you know, the ego thing, you know. Would it look cool if you're trying to do 405 pounds? It'll look cool on the ground, but when you go to start to pull it and you don't move it very far, it's not going to look
very cool. Yeah. Well, you talked about the back. We got more exercises that we actually use to focus on the back. Yes. The second of which, the straight arm push down.
Yes.
Let's go knock that out.
All right.
So the second lift here is the straight arm push down, like I said. And I actually made videos on this in the past. It's one of my favorite exercises in the entire gym that you could do, because I don't think it just even has carryover to this lift, but a lot of other lifts. We call it developing straight arm scapular strength. But for as far as the deadlift itself, you like it, why?
I like it because, you know, we're targeting the lats. One of the things when people go, when you go to set up for a deadlift is your lats need to be tight. Everything needs to be set, engaged, arms right outside the hips. And what will happen is if your lats aren't engaged and you're not tight, things are going to get loose. You're going to end up bowing, caving. Your body's basically going to get loose. And then when you go to pull, your upper body's actually going to shake. And you're going to lose. You're going to basically miss out on the lift. So this is just another technique that we can use to strengthen the lats. You know, and it's good to me. I feel like while I'm doing this and I'm squeezing, it's also teaching me mind-muscle connection on how the lats should feel when they're tightened.
Yeah, and keeping the bar close.
And keeping the bar
right,
close.
Because everybody likes the bar
exactly.
direct.
So like, yeah, what basically Jeff's saying is if you're here and your lats aren't tight, when you go to pull, the bar's going to swing. Okay, if I'm here and I'm here and I'm locked in and I'm squeezing my lats, the bar's going to just stay right here. It's going to stay right here, real tight, all the way through the actual deadlift. So you guys, on the deadlift, squeezing the lats, this accessory is going to help you guys do that, and it's a really good tool to use for it.
So knock one out or knock a few out here, get the whole stack here, as expected. But I'll go through a point here. Casey likes to use a little bit of a wider grip here or a wider bar. Not necessarily a wider grip, because when he does his deadlifts, he's really just outside of hip width. But here, at least he can kind of get it down and back. A lot of times, guys will hit the thighs with the bar right in front. This allows him to kind of get it down and through a little bit, past just the level of thighs. Just like that.
That's basically where when I'm doing mine, I basically am, okay, so I'm here. So I'm like, okay, so if this is how I'm deadlifting, then I'm right about here. Okay, this is where I need to work at keeping everything tight at, right here.
Yeah, and we know too that when guys go and they go down to initiate the pull from the floor, one of the worst things they could do is get some slack in their elbows and get loose, right? But let's say you were even doing it right. If you're set up right, and then as soon as you go to initiate the deadlifts, your shoulders get pulled forward because you can't pull that way off the floor. Absolutely. That immediately to me tells me a weak back. Right? So when we get up here and we use this exercise, it allows us to keep that engagement almost as if, sometimes I actually demonstrated before, I go down here, right, and come up, and I want to just feel that. So I come down here, literally come down so I can sort of reinforce what that feels like.
Yeah, it's a technique I've never used, and I like that.
Right, so I just come down just to feel it, come straight up, and just so I feel like I'm keeping myself in as opposed to just letting it come out. Now obviously, as I start to load more and more weight on the bar, it's going to want to pull me out. Well, if you're training yourself enough with these accessories, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, and like you said, when you guys go to deadlift, if you guys do have a weak back or you get into that tendency to bend like that, unfortunately what's going to happen is you're going to tear a bicep, and it's going to be a long, painful recovery. So this right here, always helping, keeping you tight, keeping the bar close, and you guys just don't roll your shoulders. This exercise is going to help you from doing that.
All right, so we talked about the lat slot, obviously sticking to the back. We've got one more accessory lift, but this time hitting a little bit higher on the upper back and the traps. All right, guys, so wrapping up our accessory lifts here for the deadlifts. This is one that I do a ton, guys. You've seen me do this all the time, the dumbbell high pull. Casey loves this as well, and there's a reason for it. And he sort of did this one a little bit differently in terms of the weight that you use and the volume that you use on it, right? And the rep totals that you're logging on here. But why is it that you like this when it comes to the deadlift?
This is really targeting the traps in the upper back. The traps are a huge stabilizer muscle in the deadlift. With the deadlift, when you're coming up to the top of the deadlift, is to squeeze the back. And if I'm doing this this exercise I'm about to show you, at the top, it's a huge squeeze. Exactly where it is that I'm squeezing the deadlift at the top with my lockout.
Right, so we were sort of transitioning from all that lat engagement, lat involvement. Mainly we were talking about from the bottom and trying to stay tight through the middle portion of the lift. But then as you get up, it really does shift up the back and then start involving more and more of that upper back musculature, right?
Most people will lose their deadlifts towards the top.
Yeah, so let me see you knock a few out. So guys, similar to me and what I preach here all the time, Casey does the same thing. He leads, he puts the thumbs up high, right? He's basically this is not an upright row. This is a high pull, and he's pulling with everything back here. Again, chest out, pulling high, really opening it up.
The thing with these is, one thing I like with these is it's not about that going so heavy. It's about getting that good trap engagement, that good upper back engagement. And I'm personally, these are like one of my finishers for my deadlift day, something like this. Get a good blood flow in that upper back, great pump, and it's like I said, it's something that's key that a lot of people don't think about doing. And when people, one thing that people say is like, why do you have such big traps, or how did you get such big traps? Here's one of the exercises to do that. And it's a huge thing for at the top of your deadlift to complete the actual movement.
And as far as your deadlift totals and stuff, obviously they've grown as you continue to develop your technique in the lift and stuff, but you really, as far as this entire series like we talked about, these accessory lifts on a scale of 1 to 10 for you, I know we talked about how much time you devote to them and everything, but just in terms of their importance and their direct impact on your totals and what you've been able to lift, how important do you think
it's a 10. I mean, without a doubt, we can't say it enough. We really can't. And I can't say it enough of how important accessories have been to make my lifts grow the way they have.
If you were to take your accessory lifts out of your training for the next 6 months,
my lifts would go down, 100%. They would go down. You're not getting you're not sitting there training the small muscles to make the big muscles operate right, And so the lifts would go down and everything like that. So you guys, the accessories are huge. You have to do these. You just do. And sometimes it's just you are, like I said a lot, in the other video, that you are burnt out sometimes while you get done doing your big main movements. That's okay. If you're tired over there and you can't do these, then what you're tired from over there is not going to get any stronger.
Right. Exactly. So, guys, I hope you found this series helpful. Obviously, a lot of us care about the big lifts, right?
Absolutely.
They should be the foundation of all of our training, right? We build off of the big lifts. And a lot of times, I think, in a rush to sort of continue to add weight, talk about this problem all the time, you start getting away from what your real true strength is, and you start adding these compensations that ultimately can break you down.
Yeah.
And you can't allow that to happen.
Allow the accessories to be the platform for your big lifts. These are what's going to generate the power at the end of the day. Yeah. The strength at the end of the day is these small movements that we're doing. They're such small movements sometimes. Something like this, or this is a very small movement, has such a huge impact on your actual big lift. So make sure you guys are hitting these. If you guys are hitting plateaus, you can't figure out why your deadlift won't go up, your bench or your squat won't go up. If you do these and you get religious with these, I promise you those plateaus are gonna go away real quick.
So guys, again, hope you found this helpful. If you want more of these guys, you want us to cover more stuff here, be happy to do it here. Casey's always happy and willing to come here and stop by the Xbox. I always love having him, man. So thank you for coming by.
Thanks, Jeff.
It's awesome to have you, man. In the meantime, guys, if you're looking for a program, we don't overlook any of these things, guys. They all matter. Head to ATHLEAN-X.com, look for the ATHLEAN-X training program. Let us know if you like this video. Leave your comments and thumbs up below. What else you want us to cover, and we'll do that for you in the days and weeks ahead. All right, guys, see you soon.